America runs on a good breakfast. So today we're going to make, taste, and rank the most popular breakfast in every single state in America. You, the audience, on Instagram, voted for what breakfast best represents your state. We'll then taste and rank each dish on the classic internet tier list, which can rank anywhere between S is godlike, and the bottom level, F. But it doesn't stop there. Once we have our final S tier list, if there are even multiple of them, we will then take that and pit every single S tier against each other to find a number one. So the question is, which state is really the best?
Now to kick it off with Tennessee. Eat chicken and waffles. This is a waffle piled high with crispy fried chicken and topped with a generous drizzle of hot honey.
Our first one of the day, Tennessee, and we have someone from Tennessee.
I'm Haynes.
Haynes, is this an accurate representation of Tennessee, you feel like?
I'd say so. It's a pretty popular choice.
Hell yeah.
It's got the salty, sweet, crunchy, different textures, a little kick.
It's got a little bit of everything you want in one bite. Are you gonna feel good after eating this? Absolutely not. But you're gonna be happy that you made the decision.
Gotta be an A for me.
I'm gonna give it an A.
I'd give it an A tier.
Tennessee with chicken and waffles, A tier. Hawaii with the classic Loco Moco. If you don't know this, it's burger, rice, gravy, eggs. I mean, what else is there, really? Right? Seasoned beef patty, bed of white rice, burger set down, gravy, top with a fried egg, green onion. I mean, it's beautiful. But where's it gonna land?
Woo! Loco Moco! This is not my first time having it, and it won't be my last, baby. Awesome.
I love the sweet, rich taste.
I feel like everything works perfectly in harmony on this.
I think if you zoom out and look at all the ingredients, right? It's a burger patty with an egg and gravy on rice. And this is the epitome of all things combined create a moment that is greater than the sum of its parts. A tier for me.
I'm gonna give it an S.
Yeah, it's an S.
So I think it's fair to upgrade this to a solid S for Hawaii.
You know, a great breakfast like this starts in an even greater pan.
Which excitedly brings me to today's sponsor, Made In. Look, with my years cooking in restaurants, I'm picky when it comes to the performance of my cookware. Made In offers professional level products made in Italy, designed for home cooks. To name a few, their stainless line has amazing heat retention. These pans are used in restaurants all over the world, including 3 Michelin star restaurants. So they'll definitely be able to handle your home kitchen. But Made In offers a variety of professional quality cookware in different materials, sizes, shapes, which you've seen me use through the years, even before they were a sponsor of ours. So don't forget to check out their cookware in the link in the description to save on your order. Now, let's move on.
Mississippi, biscuits and gravy. I mean, you know, it's the South. You got a biscuit smothered in sausage gravy.
Sausage gravy brings some good sustenance to your morning. It's a great taste. I would be happy to start my day with it. Last tier.
Whoa.
This is the first time I've ever had biscuits with sausage gravy. I thought it kind of looked like slop. This is delicious. I don't think it's deserving of an S tier, but it's a very strong A.
That was unexpected. This is an experience that I think everybody should enjoy. Immediately, you know, you get the crispiness from the biscuit, it's buttery, it's flaky. Then there's like this immediate sort of creaminess that ties it all together. I think we can give a common ground of A tier, strong A tier to biscuits and gravy.
South Carolina shrimp and grits. This low country classic has spread beyond the South for good reason. You mount your grits with some cheddar, you top with a mixture of shrimp and gooey sausage, vegetables thickened with a roux, beautifully green onion. Look at this, it's stunning.
Cheers.
Did not see the tail. Easy S for me. I never would have thought you could eat this for breakfast, but I'm glad you can.
It's an A. This takes me back to like brunch in Charleston, South Carolina. You're maybe a little hungover and you go to the restaurant and you see this on the menu and you're curious and you're like, okay.
Haynes, are you of legal drinking age?
25.
Oh, okay. I think it also deserves an A for the exact same reason he said.
South Carolina shrimp and grits, A tier. Wisconsin with a Kringle. These are rings of thin filled pastry with icing. It feels very Danish. Have a slice or have the whole thing. Actually, don't eat the whole thing. Probably not great for your blood sugar.
A C. It's not my favorite. This almond flavor is not for me.
It's really light, it's really airy. It has the same sort of sweet flavors that you get in a donut icing. So I'm gonna give it an A.
I'm not a breakfast pastry guy, but I do think that this presents well. It's a great pastry. It's got layers, it's buttery. Whatever you fill it with, it's gonna kind of consume the overall flavor and texture. I'm gonna give it a B. This is great. I think we can average it out right at a solid B tier.
Iowa breakfast pizza. A super thin pizza crust with nacho cheese sauce, cooked bacon and eggs, mozzarella and cheddar baked together. I'm uncomfortable.
Conceptually, this sounds incredible. In reality, it's just the most flat thing.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this as a concept, and I was kind of scared that there was nacho cheese as the base sauce.
It's bacon, egg, and cheese. You can get those flavors on almost anything, and this is not the best iteration of it. Supposedly this recipe is meant to use this type of crust. That's why we used it. At least that's what the internet suggested. And if that's the case, it really brought it down quite a bit.
It was a C for me.
Probably a C.
I'll give it a C.
Iowa, C tier. Moving on to Montana, the cinnamon roll. That's a unfair advantage. You know, when you wake up in Big Sky country, eating a gigantic glazed spiral of cinnamon sugar glory is a beautiful thing.
Holy.
Have you ever had a cinnamon roll? Fantastic. It's a weird item for a breakfast because it's so sweet, perfumed with cinnamon and glazed with sweet icing. I mean, it's an S.
This is an S.
Gotta be an S.
You go on a date, but it's a breakfast date. She made you cinnamon rolls. Are you marrying her?
Yeah, I'm popping an E right there.
Boom. Thank you, Montana.
Montana cinnamon roll, S tier. Indiana with fried mush. Oh boy. You're gonna pour a mixture of cornmeal, milk, and salt into boiling water, stirring constantly, reduce the heat. Then once it's thickened, pour it into a greased loaf pan, let it cool to room temp. It will turn into a loaf. When refrigerated, slice it into planks, fry them up in butter, and serve topped with honey. This is simple, but you know what? There could be something here.
And it's actually fire.
It's good, it's not great. You have a really crispy exterior, but you only get that crispy exterior for like a second.
Yeah, it's very simple. I like the contrasting texture of the fried crispy outside and the nice pillowy inside.
It was interesting, sweet, crunchy, little salty. It's fun. I like it a lot.
I think it's a B.
B for me.
That's crazy. I was gonna give it an S just to be straight up. I thought it was awesome. So I think that we could round this up and call it a solid A tier for Indiana and unexpected for fried mush.
Nevada, graveyard steak and eggs. Jesus, what happened in Nevada that this was the name you needed to give it? Graveyard? Ah, right, late night graveyard specials. I guess to soak up whatever you were enjoying that night, maybe specifically in Las Vegas. It's really basic. You cook a steak to the desired doneness and serve alongside 2 eggs any style. So I guess this is basically just steak and eggs. That's all it is. I don't know what's special about this. The steak is usually served whole, but I like to slice it because, come on, presentation.
I don't even need to taste this. Steak is an S automatically just because a great steak is incomparable to anything on planet Earth. Steak is steak, and if you love steak, it's an S. This as a dish, I've always found it to be incredibly confusing because it's just steak with eggs. You're like, it's breakfast because I put a fried egg on it. This shit pisses me off. It's a B. You guys are welcome to taste it and rank it.
I also don't need to taste it. I know what steak and eggs taste like. I'll give it an A.
You gambled your life savings away and you find a crumpled up $10 bill. You go get this. This is delicious and would hit in that particular circumstance. It's an A.
Still an A tier for Nevada. Moving on.
North Dakota coming in with their monkey bread. How often do we really talk about monkey bread, right? Look at this thing. It is stunning.
Ridiculous.
I have nothing bad to say about this. For me, it's an S.
It's an A. Something about that white icing I just absolutely love.
What white icing?
On a cinnamon roll. And this doesn't have that.
This is nothing like a cinnamon roll. I don't know where the we're getting those words. There's no goddamn cinnamon in this. I've always loved monkey bread. It rounds up to an S tier. Reminder, by the way, North Dakota exists. Shout out to them.
Great work. Moving on to Maine with their blueberry pancakes. Fun fact, Maine produces the most wild blueberries in the United States of America, and they like to put them in a pancake. So are they the best kind of pancake?
I'd almost rather have it without blueberries.
Yeah,
It's a B.
B for me.
B as well.
Final grade, Maine blueberry pancakes, B tier. Nebraska with the kolache. I will say, kolaches are also famous in Texas, but Nebraskans voted for their top breakfast dish to be kolaches over Texas. Also, by the way, kolaches are a sweet Czech bread filled with meat or fruit filling. We've got an assorted fruit one. I actually think that the one with meat is a klobasnik. Is that correct? Fact check. Bing bong.
Boring, kind of dry. C for me.
You get a D.
Jesus Christ. Brutal. It's bread with fruit puree in it. I've never loved it that much, and I think it's deserving of a C.
Kolache, C tier. Kansas with donuts. This seems like an unfair advantage to have a donut entered in this competition, but we'll see how that goes.
A. It's just something I love.
B. It just feels too desserty.
I don't think a donut deserves anything under an A. Anytime someone shows up with donuts, I feel like the room lights up. So I'll give it a solid A tier for Kansas. You didn't invent the donut, but we'll give it to you.
Maryland cooking it up with crab cake eggs Benedict. This sounds like a heavy hitter. Breakfast, crab cakes, I mean, you're speaking my language. Quite literally, a crab cake goes on top of a beautifully toasted English muffin with a daintily placed poached egg, hollandaise, and garnishes of your choice.
Wow, what the
I think it's unique. I think it's delicious. I want to give it an S, but I think it's an A.
I think this is an S. Crab cakes are incredible. Eggs Benedict is incredible. When I heard we were putting both of these together, my mind was blown.
Cooking isn't always as simple as taking one good thing and another good thing and combining it, and it should be good, right? A lot of the time that's not true. This is a perfect case example of it working extremely well. This is multi-dimensional in its texture, flavor, etc. This is an S tier item.
Boom! West Virginia coming in with buckwheat pancakes. Its buckwheat is pretty healthy. These could potentially be better for you pancakes, but are they really gonna be good?
Buckwheat. Basically just a slightly more dense pancake.
It's not necessarily doing that much for it.
This wasn't bad by any means. I wouldn't go out of my way to have a buckwheat pancake though.
I'll never have one again.
C.
B.
C.
West Virginia buckwheat pancakes, C tier. Rhode Island Johnny cakes. In case you haven't heard of these, they're salty sweet cornmeal pancakes that are shallow fried and topped with a little syrup or honey.
The outside's beautifully crispy with almost zero chew. It's like a earth-shattering, nice little, like, listen. Okay, maybe it doesn't sound as good as I thought it would. The exterior gets super crisp, crunchy. The inside's moist, almost custardy. It's got like almost like a grits-like texture in the middle. I think these are awesome.
I really like that crunch. I want to eat more and more and more, which I feel like that's what an S is for me.
I don't know, I think it's a side you could serve that people wouldn't necessarily always expect to see. It's a B.
Wow, tough crowd. To me, this is actually an S. I guess it rounds out to an A.
Rhode Island Johnny cakes, great work, A tier. Idaho, you got loaded hash browns, but is that gonna get you in the S tier or even the A tier category? I'm not so sure. Bacon and cheese, sauteed onion and peppers added to shredded hash browns mixed all together.
Look at this thing, dude. This looks awful.
You get some good caramelization from the onion and peppers, cheesy, crispy from the potatoes.
Instead of one big meal, it feels like 3 separate things. I'm tasting cheese, then hash brown, then bacon.
I think it tastes good. It's just not that complex. It's a weird thing for Idaho to claim this. I feel like I would have expected it to be more potato-centric because there's so much cheese and bacon and this and that it takes away from the potato a little bit. I almost would prefer a plain hash brown over this. I'm giving it a C.
B tier.
I'm gonna give it a B.
We will give it a B tier.
Connecticut apple cider donuts. You know, Connecticut really likes their apple cider donuts. Every time I meet someone from Connecticut, they always say, Josh, have you ever tried an apple cider donut? And I always say, yes, I have. I think they're good, but how good are they?
They're all right. Doesn't taste bad, it's sweet, it's got a slight apple flavor. I like the cinnamon sugar on the outside, but it's just kind of a boring donut. I'd rather have any other donut.
This does feel pretty boring.
My friend in Connecticut texted me when I asked him about this in all caps. Yes, this has to go in the video. I think he led me wrong. This is a C.
A C.
High level C.
I think in some cases it could be a B, but in the grand scheme of this voting period, it's a C. Alaska sourdough pancakes. I mean, look, these are just pancakes made with a sourdough starter. That's it. You make your batter, you add your sourdough starter, you mix it, you cook them.
This is like a slightly upgraded pancake. I'll keep it simple. It's good, I love it, big fan. Do you need the sourdough to make it? No.
It's different than a normal pancake. It's a little upgraded, but I don't think it's super special.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a B+.
B plus.
I'll say B as well.
Alaska, B, love you, bye, move on.
Arkansas biscuits with chocolate gravy. We've done this before. It looks horrendous, but it got an S tier last time due to the sheer shock factor. Is it gonna get an S again?
A tier for this one.
It's a B.
Last time I rated this an S, but also I think that was rated in a C of like all sorts of different foods. Under this context, very overwhelming in the chocolate flavor. I think I'm just looking for something else different in the morning.
It's exactly what you would expect it to be. I'm not blown away.
Specifically as a breakfast food, to me this is more of a dessert and not a breakfast item. I think this is considered a solid A tier for Arkansas.
Delaware. Scrapple. Look at it. You know, it's fried. There you go. Yeah, that's something.
I've had this before and it is gonna remain an F in my book. But I'm excited to say that Haynes has never had it before. And Haynes might just turn the tide. Whatever ranking you give this, we'll consume both of our rankings and we will assume that that is the highest ranking this is. So if this gets an A from you, this is an A. It's a hell of a bite.
It's not as bad as I was expecting.
No way, bro. I'm not even doing that. I'd rather move my left foot.
Oh my God. That's a hard F for me.
It tastes like your average sausage, but then as soon as you start chewing, I haven't had baby food in a while, but it turns to that texture. D for Delaware.
D for Delaware and D for...
Delaware Scrapple, D tier. That seems high, honestly. We're moving on to Oregon with Marionberry pancakes. Marionberry is like basically a blackberry breed. Is this the supercharged blackberry sauce we didn't know existed? Let's find out.
You could just go get blackberries and you'd have the same experience. I don't think you need to go out of your way to go to Oregon and have these.
I'm gonna just say myriad berries are extremely difficult to source, and you're highly unlikely to ever find them fresh. They're super expensive, and you'll be surprised to find out that they're basically extra seedy blackberries and have almost no additional quality to them other than they're called myriad berry. Not detecting a different enough of a flavor. It's like a D.
I don't know, it's not amazing. I'd give it a B.
The texture alone gives this a D.
So we'll round this up to a solid C+.
Wyoming coming in with chokeberry preserves. That sounds funky. Chokeberry? Wyoming loves their chokeberries. Let's see how they are on toast.
This is a nice toast with a blackberry jam, but it's not. It's chokeberry.
It's a D for me.
I agree because I have no opinions of my own. It's a D.
D.
Wyoming with their chokeberry preserves coming in at a rather lackluster D tier. Massachusetts, Dunkin', like literally Dunkin' Donuts.
Massachusetts, what is going on, dude? Who hurt you? First thing I noticed is the artificial smell. What the f? You know who eats this and loves it?
People that
Yes,
can't chew.
yes, a 65-year-old man that does crossword puzzles for 16 hours outside of Dunkin' Donuts. The reason why they sell coffee is so you can wash the flavor out of your mouth. They really do taste old. Like, there's a certain dryness to them that's not quite overcookery, which means they probably fried these really early and left them out in the grossest part of the building. It's very chalky. The aftertaste is not great. Out of all the donuts in the world that exist, dude, these have got to be the bottom of the barrel. I'm gonna give these a D.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a D. I think that your local donut shop will do a much better job.
There's a lot of talking happening right now. I don't know, Duncan got a special place in my heart a little bit, but I think what they're saying is true. They're kind of old, they don't have the greatest aftertaste. I'll give it a C.
That has the texture of wet underwear. Massachusetts, you know, you might have had a fighting chance if you chose an actual dish. D tier.
Minnesota with the egg bake. Basically combined eggs with hash browns, torn bread, cooked sausage, and a lot of cheese and then baked. That's okay, that's what it is.
I'm not stoked about this one. It's very bready, almost.
Yeah, I thought this would be a bit more creamy, a bit more eggy. Instead, it's more on the bready side.
Like, this is just a breakfast casserole. It doesn't really stand out to me.
It's a C for me.
C.
D. Minnesota, C tier, moving on.
New Mexico, Huevos Rancheros. I love these. Just so you know, this beat out green chili breakfast burrito by one singular vote. So close. Charred corn tortillas, pinto beans, sunny side up eggs, a beautiful red chili sauce, cheddar, which I melted with my torch, garnished and served.
I am a big fan of this. That's all I'll say. You know what's funny? My first thought is, I love this. I would order this a million times over. I think it's a classic breakfast, and yet I would give it a B, just because there's so many breakfast options out there. It's not my top choice, but it is delicious and it won't steer you wrong.
It's not at the highest level. It's gonna be an A for me.
I'll give it an A as well.
We will be nice and give it an A tier for New Mexico, moving on.
Michigan, Cornish pasty. And I'm talking about hand pies, by the way, not whatever pasties you're thinking about. It's quite literally a lard-based pastry, rolled out a mixture of beef, potato, and onion, and rutabaga, which have been cooked, a tablespoon of just straight up butter, sealed, crimped, and baked. These look kind of nice. Let's taste.
That's not bad. I'm liking that.
I'd go high B.
High B for me. I'm enjoying it, but it doesn't feel super breakfasty to me.
The one bite is delicious. I love the texture, I love the flavor. The only thing that holds me back, you're starting off with a really dry pastry, and I think that kind of knocks down some points for me, but overall, I really enjoyed it.
I think it's perfectly moist. It's salty, it's fatty, it's rich, but it's also balanced. But yeah, as a breakfast item, I don't think you'd ever see me ordering this. I think honestly a C. It's not like it needs to have eggs, it just doesn't feel like breakfast. So I guess that puts us at a B.
Michigan gets a B tier. Arizona, chilaquiles. Chilaquiles also beat out another breakfast burrito, which honestly deserving. I love chilaquiles. It's one of the most beautiful, simple things I've ever seen. It's a homemade chili sauce in a frying pan. Once it's hot, you add nice quality tortilla chips, a little bit of salt, you plate it up and top it crema with a beautiful queso fresco, luscious green avocado, pickled red onion, fried eggs, and cilantro.
This is my chilaquiles recipe, so I'm gonna be a little biased. I'll let you guys talk first. Sorry, I'm sorry.
So loud. Chilaquiles is on my Mount Rushmore of food. I make chilaquiles every week. There's nothing for me to hate about chilaquiles. It's wonderful. It's an S for me.
Yeah, I think this is another S for me.
Chilaquiles is not a fair competition here, because I also agree. I think it's one of those things that is impeccable all around. I feel like it's something that's highly customizable. You can put so many different sauces or salsas or a different kind of chip. It can be so many different things, and it absolutely belongs at the breakfast table. This, to me, is a powerful S tier.
Arizona gets an S S tier, well deserved. It may be hot over there, but you know what? They got chilaquiles. Moving on to Kentucky with hot brown. This is what it looks like. It's turkey, ham, bacon, tomato, creamy cheese sauce, which is essentially a Mornay. I struggle with the way that this is meant to be plated. It's literally meant to look like this. But hey, let's vote.
Kentucky hot brown. Gonna give you hot brown.
I like the spices that are in it, but all these things are put together in a dish, yet they're also separate. Kind of hard to make one bite, and just the way it's presented, it's like not a cohesive thing.
It is pretty dry. Definitely a negative that it has going for it.
The presentation is 10x what it is, but the flavor's not that bad.
B at best.
I would agree, it's also a B.
Yeah.
B tier, Kentucky, moving on.
Moving on to Missouri with the Slinger. This is a St. Louis late night breakfast creation. I don't understand the late night element. I think this is gonna go one of two ways. It's either S tier or F. I don't think there's any in between. Hash browns go down first, then a hamburger patty, cooked eggs, cover it all with beef and bean chili, raw onion, grated cheddar, served with toast. This is sort of like Skyline chili, but if I was incredibly sad while saying Skyline chili, which honestly, looking at this, I think I am.
This is the ugliest thing that we have served so far.
I don't like it too much. There's just too many conflicting textures, despite how good the flavor might be.
It doesn't taste bad, but as a breakfast, I do not want this. Realistically speaking, there's nothing special about this.
I'm gonna give it a D.
D.
Missouri, D tier. Oklahoma, the chicken fried steak. You know, Oklahoma's the land of beef. Did you know that? I think Texas is the better land of beef, but we won't talk about that. Look, chicken fried steak is quite literally tenderized cube steak that has been marinated, coated, breaded, and deep fried, typically smothered in a nice gravy.
I really like chicken fried chicken, but I think the steak is just too thick and chewy.
I've never had this before. Like Vikram said, I think I'd just rather have chicken at this point.
Every time I've had chicken fried steak, there's two parts of my brain. One part of my brain is like, that's pretty good. It's not blowing my dress up. But there's another part of my brain that's like, this is the best thing ever.
It's gonna be an A for me.
C.
I think it deserves an A. So this evens out to a nice B.
Oklahoma gets a B tier. Georgia, chicken biscuit. You know, look at this. You know what a chicken biscuit is. This needs no introduction. I feel this will be an S tier, but there's only one way to find out.
When I took a bite of this, it unlocked a memory. It's an S for me.
I think this is incredible. Every fast food place you go to at this point, they have a chicken biscuit on their menu. S tier.
I think that that's deserving of really strong A tier because I love chicken, I love biscuits, it's everything you want in one. This makes sense as a breakfast as well. Georgia coming in with a well-deserved S tier.
I don't think anyone's gonna have a problem with that. Now on to Virginia with the country ham biscuit. We got another biscuit here, except instead of a luscious, juicy, crunchy, crispy, delicious, stunning, makes me wanna cry and run up a wall like Spider-Man and do a little backflip into a nice pair of pants. Instead, you have country ham, which is typically smoked and very salty, but on the right biscuit, it could be a powerful challenger.
It's not bad.
Extremely boring. I would rather just have the biscuit.
I agree that it's simple, but it's also so easy and like decently good.
It's very much one note in terms of flavor and kind of in texture. But if you were to add more to this could be a really incredible sandwich. So that said, as a baseline, something that's tasty, to Haynes' point is fast, yeah, I think it's a B.
C.
It's a B for me.
Virginia, B tier. Ah, Louisiana. What do you think it's gonna be? Beignets. If you've never had a beignet, specifically in New Orleans, and you love food, you're missing a quadrant that will complete you as a human. This is my beignet dough recipe, link in the description. It's quite literally punch your dough down, break it into even-sized rectangles, and well, deep fry. Once golden brown, drain and dust generously with powdered sugar. Look at these. Almost like freshly laid snow on a frosty evening, but instead it's hot, luscious donuts.
I mean, look at that, dude. It's so soft and loosey-goosey.
I had a beignet when I was 8 years old. I loved it so much and I could not find it or figure out what it was for 14 years until I went back to Louisiana with Josh and had beignets. And I realized, wow, that's what that was.
They're soft, they're sweet. It's amazing you can take a fried piece of dough and just put powdered sugar on it and it be an experience.
That is hard to say that's not an S.
An A.
This is an A. A tier, moving on.
Alabama, this word, sausage. I have no idea how to pronounce that. These are spicy hickory smoked sausage links. You're gonna cut the sausages on a bias, seared on both sides until cooked through, and that's, apparently that's it.
I honestly think it's slightly under-seasoned, funny enough. It needs more spices and seasoning in general.
It's a hickory smoked sausage. It's nothing crazy. I'll give it a B.
I don't think it's boring on its own. For that, I'm gonna give it a B.
So I'll give it like a C.
I thought he was gonna rate this higher because
Yeah.
it says on their website that they put MSG in it.
I don't taste a single ounce of MSG. Maybe they should try again. Alabama, B tier. I think B is a little high, but moving on.
Illinois with a confusing German apple pancake. This is not any normal pancake. This has melted butter, sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, tart apples, softened, poured into a large pan and baked. This is an unusual pancake. Is it really gonna beat the other iconic ones?
You're getting a kiss on the lips for that.
I like the sweetness.
I don't like apple pie.
I actually don't love apple pie either, but I love this.
B.
I think it deserves an A. By popular vote, it's an A tier.
Now on to Vermont. Pancakes with specifically Vermont maple syrup. This is a big point in the rivalry between Vermont and the neighboring New Hampshire. Yeah, I know, they like to argue about their maple syrup, I don't know. So we used my traditional pancake recipe, link in the description, and topped it specifically with Vermont grade A dark maple syrup.
This Vermont syrup is something special.
Soft, fluffy, a light chew, a light sweetness, and then there's that beautiful maple syrup. I think a traditional pancake deserves an A tier.
A.
Vermont does it right. A tier.
Good job, go tap some trees. Well, I mean like tap for sap.
So Vermont and their maple syrup gets an A tier. But what about their massive rival, New Hampshire, which is pancakes specifically with real New Hampshire maple syrup. Also grade A dark. I wanna let you guys know everyone who voted for New Hampshire provided extra emphasis with New Hampshire maple syrup. Is it really gonna make a difference though?
Now, we already did the Vermont one. So really, this is not about the pancakes. It's about the choice of syrup. This is like a toned down version of Vermont maple syrup.
I'd go with the B for it.
C.
It's a B, call them Vermont.
Oof, New Hampshire and their maple syrup comes in with a B tier. Although neither of them got an S tier, we still have a maple syrup winner going to Vermont. Utah coming in with Utah scones, whatever that is. This is not really a scone. It's more of like a fried yeast ball, kind of like a beignet. I don't know why the term scone is being used here. This is gonna further confuse the English and the British out there every time we say biscuit, because they always like, oh, that's a scone, bruv. All right, anyway. Yeasty dough divided in 12 balls, roll them out into circles or squares, fried until golden brown, drained and topped with powdered sugar and honey.
Utah, what the is this? They're trying to steal a beignet. I think that's what's going on.
They're not doing a good job at it.
Yeah.
I don't love it. I think it's pretty dense.
This tastes just like bread from my church, which I guess makes sense for Utah. It's nothing crazy.
It's basically like a flat, dry beignet with honey and sugar. And I ate it and I was like, that was pleasant. I won't be having that again.
B for me.
It's a B.
I'll give it a B.
Utah, B tier. Pennsylvania, now bear with me here, they call this one the grilled sticky. Honestly, this sounds like something that you would have in your diaper in kindergarten. I'm sorry, that's gross. Think about it like this. Sliced sticky bun loaf, fried in butter until crispy golden brown. This seems almost too simple to be an A or an S. So let's find out where it lands.
I did not like the name of this when I saw it, but then I saw it. And I was like, oh. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like if you mixed brioche bread and a cinnamon roll and they made love, and then it became almost like this custardy French toast, crispy caramelized thing. S.
S tier.
It's an S tier for me.
Pennsylvania grilled sticky S tier. Wow. Washington, the salmon eggs Benedict. You know, Maryland has crabs, Washington has salmon. Get it?
We have two eggs Benedicts at war together. Let's see who's better.
I'd rather have like bagels and lox or something like that. It's kind of creamy all the way through, but that's kind of the only texture you get. This worked. It's just not as interesting. It's a high C.
It falls flat. I think C is pretty fair.
I think it deserves a B. This is just as good, maybe slightly less good. I like the diversity of flavor. I like that it's different. And I will say, it is way more moist than what you'll get out of a normal Eggs Benedict. The only thing keeping it wet is the emulsified butter and egg yolk that's on top. So I do like that quality in this, and I love the smoked salmon flavor. But unfortunately, by majority, it gets a C.
Colorado, the green chili breakfast burrito. Finally, we got a breakfast burrito. Are you happy? They really like green chili over there, and I respect it. Fill your tortilla with cooked eggs, caramelized onion, chorizo, beans, hash browns, and of course, green chili. Roll it up nice and tight, top with more chili and queso. That's a Goliath right there.
I think this burrito is a bit excessive for what it is. I don't think it needs that second layer of green chili and queso on top. I think the green chili is here, but the rest of the ingredients are kind of average.
It's a pretty average breakfast burrito.
Please.
Let me get
No, Haynes, I swear to God.
Yeah, and the green chili is really delicious.
The green chili is the best part. I've had 1,000,001 breakfast burritos. I'm from LA. I know a good breakfast burrito when I see one. It's also incredibly average, despite how ridiculous it is and messy it is.
B+.
It's a B.
C. B tier, Colorado. Very sorry.
Next up, South Dakota with fry bread. It's underappreciated and easy to make. Make a basic rough dough, cover and let rest for 30 minutes. Cut the dough into quarters, roll each into a 6-inch circle on a lightly floured surface. Fry for 2 to 3 minutes on each side till golden brown. Drain and serve with a berry sauce.
The bread is incredible. I want to stuff things in it. You know, I think it on its own, it's great.
B as well.
I think we'd even this out at a B for South Dakota. Moving on.
North Carolina, another conglomerate. Krispy Kreme, okay.
That's pretty crazy.
Growing up only at Krispy Kreme, and I was like, Krispy Kreme is an S tier my entire
Hayes is
life.
going for the whole goddamn thing. Good God.
I always thought Krispy Kreme was S tier. Then I moved down to Texas and I had Shipley's for the first time. That's always above any other donut. Granted, we're not rating that, but that's why I can only do a maximum of an A tier for Krispy Kreme.
I've on Krispy Kreme before, but I will say out of all the donut shops that exist in America, it's one of the only ones that's gotten as big as they are. The quality is pretty good. Texturally, the dough's great. They're never dry. I only have one problem with it. Whatever they're frying it in must be hydrogenated, which means that it'll solidify at room temperature. Really stupid move, because when these donuts cool, they're gonna leave that sort of like chalky residue as you're chewing. I don't know if you noticed that, but almost on the roof of your mouth, there's like a chalkiness to it. You can ignore it because the donut is good, but it does detract from the experience. So I'm giving it an A tier.
I ate that whole donut very enjoyably and could go for 2 or 3 more probably after this segment ends. This is an S tier for me.
Krispy Kreme, a surprising A+ tier. Moving on.
Ohio with Goetta. Joetta? What is this? So we've got beef and pork, oats, spices, and it is then turned into a loaf, sliced and fried. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I think this looks very gross. But you know what? You should never judge a book by its cover.
Despite its looks, it's sort of custardy, there's meatiness to it. There's something to be said about this. I would even argue this might be good if you like panko breaded this, fried it, and put it in like a sandwich with the cheese. I feel like might be kind of fire.
It's not bad. What I will say is the boiled beef always throws me off. Would I rather just have brown ground beef? I think so.
And then you throw some oats into the equation, it's just confusing. The texture's a little weird. That being said, it still tastes pretty decent.
It's actually not bad.
B.
I'll give it a solid B. I think that's pretty strong considering what we were thinking out the gate with this. That's kind of a big up. So shout out to Ohio, a B. Moving on.
Ohio getting a surprising B tier. This little mushy guy is beating out a lot of classics. A big round of applause for Ohio. Moving on to New York with the iconic bagel and lox. I grew up with this. This is one of my favorite things of all time. Toasted everything bagel, generously slathered with cream cheese, lox, tomato, red onion, capers, and fresh dill. The dill is optional. Crown your king, slice in half for a beautiful cross section, and let's taste.
This is what American breakfast should be leaning toward. I love going to New York, getting some fresh salmon. It's a really good, encompassing bite, and it's always enjoyable.
B. I'm not a smoked salmon guy, but I see where people are at.
A smoked salmon or Nova Lox bagel with all the fixings and a load of whipped cream cheese is arguably one of the greatest American breakfasts in human history. It feels like such a culinary creation while also being super accessible. And then you have the smokiness from the salmon. I mean, this is a layered dish. I love bagels and lox, and I'm giving it an S. But I think this all evens out to a solid A for New York.
The New York bagel and lox. That is a deserving, that is a beautiful, that is a powerful A tier. Florida with the Cuban breakfast. You know, Cuban breakfast means a lot of things, but the one that was the most voted for is just bread and butter and strong coffee.
The only reason it's not an F is because it's not bad, but it's pretty boring. I'm gonna give it a D.
It's still pretty tasty. Like Cuban bread's great, Cuban coffee is great, but compared to everything else, I think it lands at a C for me.
It tastes good, it's just not my vibe. Even the people who love this, I don't even think they think it's a great breakfast. It's more just like a grab and go. At best, the experience is a D for me. I would be very unhappy if I ate this. Florida, you know, basic Cuban breakfast, it's kind of a D. But there are many other great things there, and we're big fans. Moving on.
But we gotta move on to Texas, where we live, the breakfast taco. These come in many combinations, but as long as there's eggs, cheese, and a tortilla, either corn or flour, you pretty much have a breakfast taco. Yeah, it's a taco with eggs in it.
The breakfast taco, Texas, where we reside. This is very dependent on where you go to get it. Some places are f***ing awful.
This one hit A tier.
A. It's a nice savory thing to have in the morning, and it always feels well balanced.
Honestly, the sky's the limit. Put fried chicken and soft scrambled eggs and a lot of cheese, I'm probably gonna give it an S. If you put dry bacon and old eggs, I'm probably not gonna give it an S. So it really comes down to the quality of the product. In the ethos of a breakfast taco, I'd give it an S, but I think we can rank it out at an A.
Final grade, Texas breakfast tacos, A tier. It's a gift that keeps on giving. It's not necessarily revolutionary, but it's a breakfast standard. New Jersey pork roll breakfast sandwich. Seared pork roll / Taylor ham, blah, 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 American cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup.
We've done a pork roll with New Jersey. We did not like it last time, if I recall. So good luck, New Jersey. Whoever decided ketchup knows that this sandwich isn't that good.
Without ketchup, it's a pretty boring sandwich.
I got not a lot of ketchup on my bite, so I got to really just savor this sandwich. And the pork roll is not good, you guys. I think, like, it's a C. Like, I wish I had ketchup.
I don't know, it's a C for me.
I think it's a C.
So New Jersey comes up with a C tier. California avocado toast. You know, it's funny. Everybody in LA seems to make fun of themselves here because a lot of the avocado toast votes came with an LOL or hate this, but I'm ashamed because this is actually where I'm from. And I hate to say it, but I love avocado toast. Simply sliced sourdough, toasted, topped with avocado, salt, pepper, maybe olive oil, maybe microgreens. Let's find out.
It's kind of the quality of the ingredients and how you treat them that makes this something that could be special.
I was gonna hate on this. I think just like toast avocado would be boring, but with the olive oil and the microgreens on top, I think it takes it up a notch.
Vikram does not like avocado. I'm like very confused right now.
I think the olive oil just masked it for me.
I've been eating avocado toast for a long time. I think it can be so many things. It's a textural wonderland and it's good for you.
It's an A for me.
B.
A. By majority, this is an A tier. Moving on. It's time for the S tier showdown. What does that mean? We have 7 S tier items. Shout out to that. We reduced it down from 50 states to 7 states. These are the best of the best from our experience. So we're gonna compare and contrast, rate them each on 1 to 10 and decide our ultimate S tier winner for the breakfast showdown. 1 would be just barely makes it an S tier, and 10 being this is by far the most deserving of an S tier beyond anything else on planet Earth. I don't know if we're gonna have any 10s. Starting with Montana cinnamon rolls. 3, 2, 1.
Vikram 8.5, me a 7, and Haynes an 8.
There's other stuff on this list.
Montana starting us off strong with a 23.5.
That's a tough one to beat. North Dakota monkey bread. Bing bong.
Vikram 8, me 8, and Haynes a 5.
That's a little aggressive. That makes no sense. North Dakota 21. Georgia with your chicken biscuit.
Vikram with a rude 4, a 6.5, and a 7.
Come on, a 4? Comparatively to what? Fried chicken and a buttery biscuit? I mean, you know. Georgia 17.5. Hawaii with their Loco Moco.
A 6, a 5, and an 8.5.
I think we're in the same boat here.
To me, it feels more like a lunch dinner thing, and so comparatively, it's a little lower.
Hawaii 19.5. Arizona chilaquiles. Stop saying chilaquiles, all right? I don't want to see that anymore. I think Vikram's gonna rate this really high. 3, 2, 1.
A strong 9, a 7.5, and another 9.
This guy has a problem.
Can't do better.
What? A 9?
It was so good.
That's absurd.
You called it a textural wonderland, bro.
It is a textural wonderland that's deserving of a 7.5 on a still out of S tier.
Stop making it so good.
Arizona 25.5. We have a leader, Maryland Crab Cake Benedict. This is a strong one.
Vikram a 10, me an 8.5, Haynes a 6.5.
Vikram, come on, dude.
6.5. It was like the greatest thing we ever put in our mouths.
Whoa, buddy.
Maryland 25, so close, yet so far.
So it now comes down to this last final dish.
Pennsylvania, the grilled sticky.
From Vikram, we have a 9.5, strong start. Me, another 9. If Haynes votes for a 7.5 or higher, this will win it all. And Haynes comes in with a much larger, solid 9.
Wow. And Pennsylvania 27.5. That makes Pennsylvania the winner of the S tier list by 2 points only, with chilaquiles being right behind on its tail. All qualified S tiers, all amazing dishes. There were a lot of great things we tasted today, but Pennsylvania, hats off to you, congratulations. I don't even know where you are on the map, but I know that your grilled stickies are good. Thank you again to Maiden for sponsoring today's video. We love you, and their pans love you too. They also love me. We all love each other. Don't forget to click the link in the description to save on your order and also get some pans. Subscribe and goodbye.